Whatever that thing is right now that you're like really like holding on to, that's really hard, that's like always on your mind, like zoom out for a moment and just think about, what really supported me and what the medicine brought me to is like myself as a grandmother. And what's crazy was I didn't even go into the ceremonies at all thinking about children. If anything, I thought I probably am not going to have kids because I never felt that like ping. I always wanted to have kids until my marriage. And then in that, I was like, I actually am not sure if I want to have kids. And it kind of scared me. I was like, is it going to change? But I just never felt that ping. Now I can see why I was not meant to have children with that person. And I'm grateful that I didn't have that ping because who you have children with is who you're creating a lineage with. It's who you are creating a unique hybrid of humans with. And it's a math and it's a science. And it really showed me how souls like choose like the right mom and the right dad for them. And it doesn't necessarily mean that they're together forever or like the best relationship match at all. I mean, hello, our parents, but there's a science to it. And if you are in a relationship, and again, everyone's path is different, but a lot of times what I've seen is, you think you're supposed to have a baby, but you don't want to have it with that person. And then underneath it all, there was an issue in the relationship. And then you're like, oh, I can see now why intuitively I felt I was not meant to have a baby with this person. So it really took me deep into my relationship with my mother, which I went into in my ayahuasca journey, my relationship to the mother of earth. And, I'm such a lover girl. Like I love love. I love romance, like all matters of the heart. That's what this podcast is about. But it showed me it's like that level of unconditional love that you so want to experience in this lifetime, that you are craving, that you are calling in, that you are yearning for, that you know is capable, all this love that you want to pour in unconditionally is the love of a mother. And it introduced me to my future children. And that was like the most emotional thing I've ever experienced in my life. I can't even talk about it without crying, so I'm not going to get fully into it and just let it unfold as it does. And I've never felt such love in my life. And it showed me my children there with me in those fields. And it was a boy and a girl, and just like seeing the boy with his stick and he was like running around and he was so like adventurous, and the girl being like, "Mommy, will you braid my hair?" And her long black hair, and just this love that I felt for her. And I was the mountain. I was the mountain that they experienced life through. And the mother is God. She is God creating life for these other beings. It literally is life creating life back for life itself. And witnessing my children, even in this energetic field, like watch a butterfly was like me watching a butterfly for the first time. And if you're a mom and you're listening to this, I'm sure you really know this, but it's like watching life again for the first time, but it means even more watching it through the eyes of your children. Because you're so much more aware of the preciousness of that moment. Because when you're a kid and you see the butterfly, you're like, oh, a butterfly. But when you're a mother and you see your child watching the butterfly, you know how significant that moment is. And just the love that I felt for these children, like I would give my life for them. And I really believe that that is, for me, the meaning of life. To love so deeply. And so often we're like craving that like unconditional like love, like from a romantic partner. And we're like looking for this like perfect love. And it really showed me it's like romantic human adult love is like two flawed humans meeting each other, doing the best that they can. But a mother's love, the kid doesn't have to do the best they can. The kid doesn't have to do anything. The kid doesn't even need to breathe. for that love. That is true love. And so it completely shifted me, the way that I see myself, the way that I see the world. Like, again, I don't know what my life will bring. I'm still single. I'm very far from that reality right now. But it's interesting because like my first time even sitting in different ceremonies, it always showed me my children. I was always like, and especially me as a grandmother, and I was always like, I don't really know. And after feeling this, it shifted the way that I walk, the way that I show up, and the way that I create. And I love everything that I do. And my life is so full. And I love sharing on this podcast and my students. And I actually feel like I already am a mother for so many. I'm a mother that teaches and brings wisdom and shares. And I'm even like a grandmother sharing these stories. And I can just feel myself really stepping into that role within myself of not waiting for a man to make me see myself as a mother, as if a man can do that for you, but rather a mother is awakened within. It's a consciousness within. And doesn't necessarily mean for everyone. Trust me, I did not want to have kids. Like I was just like, I don't know, there's a lot of liabilities there. But then experiencing that level of love and then realizing like what a deeply nurturing person I am. And, I have all this nurturing, you guys know me. I breed butterflies. I'm like always with the animals. I'm so deep in my friendships. Like I love to love. But it showed me that for some reason, I thought, or I created a belief structure that being a mother meant sacrificing your whole life because that's what I had seen. So I thought being a mother, like having your own children, meant you have to sacrifice your purpose, your sense of self, your livelihood, your freedom, all of these things, and like no longer exist. And then on top of that, you're going to have a rocky relationship because that's what I had seen happen after people have kids. And it's just a bunch of suffering. And then so much can go wrong with your kids. And why would I put myself through that? And again, and that's a perspective, and there are layers of potential truth in that too. But it's all the story that we tell ourselves, It's like I could tell my story. Well, having friends, they all betray you and they all backstab you and everyone's just in it for themselves. Well, could potentially be true too, but do I want to tell myself that story? So it really took me into how I had seen the woman in my family, again, woman from Iran, where of course they could not work. Of course, like my grandmother was a child bride, 11 years old. So I still subconsciously felt like me being a mom is like, I have to become like a child bride and like give up my whole life and my body to these children as if I don't exist anymore. Especially because in Middle Eastern culture, a woman's name is daughter of her father. And then when she gets married, it's wife of her husband. And then when she has a son, it's mother of her son. So she doesn't even have her own name. Her name is a relationship with the man in her life. So there is a lot of patriarchy in the culture. And so I saw it and I felt it and I saw that the mothers were the ones who had to carry all the emotional burden and grunt and were not respected and did not have freedom of choice. And they were the one that gave and gave more than anyone. So I was like, I'm not going to be that. I want to have choice. I want to have purpose. I want to share my gifts. I want to have freedom. So that means then don't be a mother. So I had these like ties crossed, and that's the beauty of doing deep consciousness healing work, whether it's with medicine or just contemplation. It shows you like you take one thing and something else, you tied them together, but it's not necessarily true.